Hello, folks. So, yeah, I hope everyone is here. So, after a long time, actually, we are connecting here. Now, it's May 2026, and a lot of recruitments are going on. And, OIM, apart from that, other IDEM tools are hotcake in the market, you know. So, let's talk about as we planned today about scheduler, and there are few people who ask me, they are not cleared about OIM flow itself, how it works. So let me just quickly clarify how it works. Let's say this is your Oracle Identity Manager. What happens? This is your OIM. What happens is, let's say this is your HRMS system. This is your HRMS system. Okay. So whenever the new users, right, are onboarded, those users are supposed to managed by organization. Now it's very difficult for organization to manage the users on a central place. There are DBAs in older days, if you know. DBAs have to provide access, for all the users, create identities, adding them to different access and roles. So those were, getting complex with time when the number of users are increasing. So what, already these things, so just giving you a brief. So what happened, organization started looking towards a solution, which is a central solution. From there, you can manage not only the identity, you can access, and different places you can provision the user, reconcile the user. So this is how Oracle Identity Manager came into the picture, right? Now the thing is, here we are talking about something called scheduled task. Okay, today the topic for today is scheduled task. Let me just give the heading here, or scheduler. Scheduler. So what happened is, for example, there is a particular let's say task, or let's just think like this. Let's say, for an example, there are a lot of users in Oracle Identity Manager. Okay, just a use case. Anyway, practicals we will also see. Let's say there are a lot of users present in Oracle Identity Manager. A lot of users are there in Oracle Identity Manager. Okay, what I want to disable those users in bulk. That's what requirement is. Okay, now there are possibility, if you are a part of admin team, you can go and manually disable it. Okay, but it's a hectic task. So what admin team requires while working in production, they require you to create a scheduled task or scheduler which can you know disable in bulk, maybe 5,000, 10,000, and number of users, just in a go. So there the concept, anything where you want to repeatedly want to do something, plus you want to perform something which is difficult manually, time consuming. So automation plus repetition, their scheduler come into the picture. Now scheduler, how there are different, uh, I can say, services in OIM. User manager is service, role manager is service, entitlement manager is service. Various services are there. Using those services under scheduler, we can perform this activity. That is a separate thing which is covered in the Oracle Identity Manager APIs. Now let's come towards the scheduler. So scheduler are of two things, two types, not two types, consist of two things. First is schedule job, and second is task. First is job and second is task. So scheduled task is a different thing, scheduled job is a different thing. Scheduled task, in very simple, if I say, is your logic or code, which is nothing but a Java class, and job is nothing but the trigger which triggers it, in scheduler. Like, you see the page where you click, run now, refresh. Those things are called schedule job, which triggers the logic. When you click, these logics are executed. So this is first thing I have seen. A lot of people are confused. They use job and task like kind of interchanging each other, but it's not interchanging. Job is the page where you run the task, where when you hit any action button, tasks are being triggered in the backend. Okay. So I hope till this is clear to you. Now now coming towards the schedule task. Okay, how to write the task. So in OIM, in order to write any task, OIM provides you scheduler. First of all, is a plugin. Plugin is what? Again, these things are already discussed in event handler. Okay, so is a plugin, you know wh- OIM provides you some plugin point where you can enhance the OIM feature. So one of the plugin point is task support, which is exposed by Oracle. So task support, right? This is a class. So this task support class, whenever you extend this class, what happens? You get execute method. And now in the execute method, you write all your logic, you know, where you can automate the things, the bulk activity. There you automate. Okay, so this is what about schedule task. Okay, so schedule task is a plugin. Okay, and that plugin is implemented via task support class. Okay, so when you write execute method, these things, you can write all the logic inside the execute method. Again, execute and bulk execute, there are two methods. Okay, two variations are there. Bulk, we have to write code in production in both. Execute have the main logic, and bulk execute call this executes logic. Okay, so now let's talk about, let me just first open this. Okay, let me go to OIM scheduler. So this is the official page where you see managing scheduler, configuring XMLs, config.xml is a file, different things are there. Starting and stopping of scheduler, these things are there. Okay, so what happens, right? Whatever logic you write, for an example, how you write logic in some Java class, from that Java class, what you do, there are different approaches, organization to organization, project to project, little bit of variation, but at the end things are same. You build jar file from this. Okay, now this jar file, you required something called, since whatever, it's a scheduler or event handler, all are plugins, right? So you need plugin.xml. Okay, to define about the scheduler. It's a kind of a plugin, so those plugin point you have to mention here. And then here, let's say test.xml, anything. This XML is nothing but having the metadata information about your Java class. So this is the architecture. These three files you require, then you zip it. you know you zip all of them in a single place, and once you zip them, that zip file you have to deploy, you know either end utility, in development, or you can put directly, in Java task. Like, various methods are there. Okay, like, just I'm saying, folder, you just, there are different methods. Okay, different ways to do that, but at the end, this is how you do the thing. So that's what it's talking about, that plugin.xml. This what it's talking about, OIM config.xml, and those detailed booklet is also there, PDF is there, that you can check it out in very layman. What we follow, all the labs are there. Okay, so this is, you can go through this document. Okay, anyway, this is very less informative document. It don't have everything. It look like big, but it's also very limited. A lot of use cases are there that is not covered over here. Okay, so see, these are some details, you can just check it out. Okay, see, just you can just go through this. Then you see creating custom schedule task, as a plugin, those details, managing the job, creating the job is a different thing, right, which triggers. Okay, and that job is created with the help of this test.xml. How to do that, will come to that. Okay, then performing simple search. These are again search and all these are different ways, in OIM. Okay, I'm just quickly going through what it look like. Deleting the job, diagnostic, if any issue comes, how you can diagnose those scheduled jobs. So this is, see, it's a very limited document. There is no much information here present where you can just simply follow and you can create a schedule task. Okay, limited informations are there, but we will be covering the things. Okay, so this is one thing about the schedule thing, scheduler. Now for an example, okay, just an example, let's say what kind of requirement comes to you. If you want to master scheduler, the first thing, okay, which someone was asking me, you have to master OIM API. Without APIs you cannot be good at scheduler. So OIM API will come into the picture, and most I can say like till moderate level of the things can easily be done with user manager API. User manager API, that is more than enough to cover 60%, I can say. Apart from this, there are so many other APIs are present in OIM, those you can explore. Okay, based on time to time, entitlement role, those things you can explore with time. Okay, but most of the things are covered with user manager API. User manager API. Okay, and rest of the things, there are many more APIs which you can cover, but when at least you master the user manager, most of the jobs you will able to do something. Okay, so let's say what happened, let's say this is your OIM, and in the OIM, let's say any user related operations you want to perform. Let me just search here, user clip art. Let me pick up, let's say in OIM there are multiple users are there in OIM. Now what you want to bulk disable those users, or just an example, the first use case, you want to bulk disable those users. So whatever the logic you will write, right, let's say you will write like class test, whatever your class name, extends task support, extend task support, and here you will write all the logic. Okay, detail things are already there that we will, you can go through the lectures, you will find, but this is the core. I mean, here you have to extend the task support, and when you extend the task support, you will get a method called execute, and in the execute method at the end you will get a hash map. You will get a hash map here, and this hash map is nothing but your job. Means whatever is the information, present on the job page, your input, job page inputs. Okay, so whatever you are entering on the job page as an input, those inputs comes to you in the form of map. Okay, now if you don't know hash map and all, you can just check it out, the core Java, that will be more helpful and give you a clear picture on, how the things are working. That is a hash map thing. Okay, like hash map is a key value pair. Okay, that will give you clarity. Okay, so whatever input you pass, that you can get it, and that is required, but I'm not going in more technicality of those. I'm just talking about, here, what are the major characters. First is the task support. You have to write any code in scheduler, it will start with this. Then there is a hash map. Okay, there you can get, whatever you are passing input. Let's say you are passing CSV location, you are passing, any field where you are taking, let's say query field, whatever, those are part of the hash map. Okay, and that will be returned to you in the scheduler. Now coming towards, scheduled task execute method, here you will write, you will first create a, see, it's a user related operation, right? So whenever you are performing anything with the user related operation, let's say in my schedule job page, I am taking, HR given me a CSV locations, let's say CSV location. Okay, and also passing me one delimiter. Just an example. It could be anything. It's up to you how you configure. Limiter. Okay. Okay. Let's say your CSV file location could be like U01, something like that. Okay, dot CSV, and it will be, let's say, semicolon or anything. You can, it could be just an example. So those things will come here in the form of map. CSV location will come as a variable. Let's say location variable, and the value of location variable will be this, delimiter value will be this, like this. So here you will receive all the inputs, and there, right, it's your focus should be in two parts. First, receiving the input and how to use those input inside the class. That's the focus one. Focus two, try to understand what API should be triggered. It's a role manager, entity manager, what I should trigger. So in this case, come on, tell me what we should trigger, what kind of operation we want. We want bulk disable. Just an example, what I want to disable, users. So this is a user related thing, user manager API. So you have to create user manager object. So user manager usrmgr equal to anything. Whenever, whatever services you need, that you have to write platform dot get service. You have to request the platform, OIM platform dot get service, platform dot get service. Okay, and here you have to write user manager. I need, what service I need, user manager dot class. Now this variable, let me just put the smaller letter. This variable user manager dot class can be changed. Okay, here this is, I'm just catching it, because the object return type of this is user manager. So I'm just catching it somewhere. Okay, so this thing, why I highlighted this you can change. If it is a user manager, you write user manager dot class. If it is a role manager, you write role manager dot class. Whatever, entitlement. Okay, so those things you have to write over here. So you will get user manager object. Now you get user manager object means you can do anything on scheduler, right? You can write usrmgr dot disable. Okay, and you can pass all the user IDs. Now how to do it, it's in OIM API. Okay, and that I will cover in the lab. Okay, then you can go through the lectures, there you can find the things. Okay, okay, and you have to pass the user ID, user USR keys, USR key. Okay, that's it. How to write it for bulk, you can use for each loop and everything. Just I'm just giving an overview, and this is how you can disable each user's ID you pass, and they will keep getting disabled. If you want to enable, if you want to log, unlock, anything you can perform from here itself. Okay, I hope till now there is no confusion here. This is okay. Okay, now the thorough lab already we have did. Okay, if you go here, idem dot, I hope you already have access. Thinkific.com. If you go here, okay, for see, this is the thing, OIM API in depth. You must go through this OIM API. User manager API you have to understand. Okay, like this is major portion is user manager. Okay, and other things I have also discussed, like how at the end the thing is I cannot teach everything. It's impossible. Like there are so many services, so many classes. It's a product, right? It's not a kind of a core Java. Yeah, but after covering all the use cases, you will be in a position, you know how to do the things, you know how to go through the document, how to implement the things. Okay, so this is one thing you have to cover. Then you have to come to schedule task here. This is a thorough discussion, more than 3 to 4 hours session is there, like implementing, covering all possible use cases. Document ppts, pdfs are there that you can download, and whatever the schedule task I have written, those zip file you can download and directly deploy to your system, so you can get a fair idea how the things are running. Okay, so lecture is there, so don't worry. Since you have set for interviews, some of you, and you ask me, like, it was kind of a difficult for you when they ask core things, and you are going through the lecture, so so those details you can easily get over here. Okay, yeah, I know there is a fear, like you had not covered these when I will I get scheduler is an independent topic. Okay, scheduler, APIs, and what I can say, event handler, those are independent topics. If you know just 1 or 2 lecture basics, it's more than enough to get you to understand. So now you see how much difficult it is. What you come to know, you must know user manager, APIs, that I have covered. If you know user manager, you can operate on user manager thing. 90% of the job you will see, or 80% all will be on user manager on real time. Okay, few things will be here and there that it's easy, it's manageable. Once you know one API, another API is the same way you can explore. Okay, you just create user manager give you multiple methods. You say, let me just show you here, user manager API OIM. So if you go here and search, this is the user manager interface. You see, so these are the methods. Let me just show you disable. See, this is disable method. What it's saying, you pass the user IDs. Okay, these are the 3 flavors of the method, right? And it will give you user manager result. Okay, now you can further explore. Nowadays exploring is more simpler, right? AIs are there. When the time we were working on the OIM, now everybody, anybody can master anything. It's simple. But the time when we were working, when before AI, 6 7 years back on OIM, when it was more kind of a difficult thing, because nothing was there at all. Now things are easier, much easier nowadays. So these are APIs. See, change password, you can implement, create user, you can create a user in OIM. You can explore each of the method. Let's say get pass proxies. Okay, if you have a proxies, of a user. Proxy means, let's say the user is not present, then he must have some proxies. Let's say in his absence he can approve the things. Okay, lock, unlock, modify. Most famous is search criteria. Again, search criteria is very interesting thing. I will talk about this. I can talk on this more than 4 5 hours non-stop, because this is very important, and it's something which will be used most of the time. Okay, set challenges, lock, unlock, nothing. That's the thing, you know this you will be using most of the time, and it's easy. So you just create, you just write platform dot get service. You will get the service. What is your service? User manager is your service. You get a user manager object. Now this user manager has the capacity to do anything on OIM with user related, with some methods are there. Simple, most simplest thing. Just call the method, pass the required things. That how to pass, that you have to arrange, and you will arrange. That's not difficult. Okay, so that's the thing. And once your code is ready, right, this is a Java file. From this file you will create a jar file in your Eclipse or JDeveloper, whatever you are using. You deploy the code and you will get the jar file. Once you get the jar file, that what I was talking about, here you will write the logic. The thorough discussions are in the lecture. You write the jar file, then you write plugin.xml. Plugin.xml means it will provide, you have to provide the plugin points. Okay, then only you will understand, okay, this is for scheduler, then that's the reason you write plugin.xml. And now schedule job is related, let's say this is test.java, so you will create test.xml. Okay, and that test.xml will have all your details of your scheduled job. Okay, if it is event handler, then it will have the stage detail, which stage it will fire, pre-process, post-process, those kind of things. Okay, and plugin details will be almost similar there also. So these are the important things. Once you do this, you create a zip file and put it to the server. Okay, and it will be coming into the picture now. I will tell you one interesting thing. Scheduler, whenever or any plugin you put in the system, you don't need to restart. Although people restart, clear the cache, but actually not required. You just put it in the server and it will immediately take effect, and that's how the things are working. This is all about your schedule job. Okay. uh, okay. Manoj is saying it's getting late for him. Okay, Manoj, let's conclude over here, just because you guys told me, and I was honestly, nowadays from last couple of months I'm very busy, I'm not getting time, to uh, uh, get in touch with you. So I thought, okay, let me give some time and explain you things. So don't afraid, okay, just go through the lectures. You will find the things, this master program, right? 70 plus hours of master program is more than enough to give you all the clarity. Okay. After completing this, you will be in a position to upgrade yourself. There are a lot of uh, documents, articles, ais are there. You can just chat and you can upgrade yourself. Nowadays it's not that difficult at all, right? Earlier it was difficult. Nowadays queries are also less. Okay. But don't afraid, things are simpler. Okay. Scheduler is something you have to use in every single day in your life. Okay, as a developer. Okay. It's a part of your day-to-day activity. You have to write scheduler, and to write scheduler you have to master apis. So that's all about today's connect. Okay. I hope I was able to give you some basic idea. Mostly the discussion was revolving around scheduler. So that's the reason, right? You asked me a question, right? They were asking you the question where you write the scheduler, which method you write the code, right? So it was execute method you write the code. Now they were also talking about what are the apis you use in your scheduler. So it was a user manager, most common. If you had used anything related to catalog, anything related to entitlement, there are other apis for that. Okay. So that already had been discussed, so you can go through, right? So it's simple, most simple thing, and most day to day activity things. Okay. Okay. And event handler is something different. Whenever any user is created, any event is fired, then you want to trigger some code, that is event handler. Okay. Yeah, event handler is not created every now and then, but scheduler you will see in your organization every now and then will be created. A lot of scheduler you will see in your project. Okay. For small activity to automate, so you can simply say scheduler is nothing but lot of automations. Okay. Any automation you want, those code you put it here, and then you just put it, you can run it. Okay. You can automate it via job is kind of, it's a trigger. It will keep firing your task in a certain interval of time. Okay, that you can set. So that's all about today. If any doubt and all, you can get in touch with me. Tomorrow I will not be available, so you can ping me, day after tomorrow. Okay. That's it. If you have any question and confusion also, if any access related issues, you can drop mail to, support at the ktport.com. They will help you out. Or you can send me a WhatsApp message. I can also help you out with that. Okay. Uh, that's all I think. Yeah. Any questions if you have, let me stop recording. I will go, I will clarify.